I don't think you need to be submerged in the Amberverse 24/7 in order to use Amber as a place to launch your as a launching point for a deeper conversation about bigger topics, right?
This is my intro music. Welcome to the video. I hope you like it lots, so don't forget to subscribe and click the thumbs up button. Now let's react.
Hey, hi, hello there, and welcome to another episode of An Anthropologist Watches Therapy Today. Oh yeah, because this man has crossed over into the Amberverse again. No, I'm kidding. Well, I mean, he has, but if you guys don't remember, I reacted to Therapy Today several months ago now, when he reacted to Amber going over her BPD. It was a couple videos of hers, actually. I don't really remember all of them. I'm gonna probably put a little playlist together of the Therapy Today videos because it took me a while to get through them because I talk a lot. It really wasn't anything he did. The gentleman in question's name is Isaiah, so I may or may not use his name, but I'll probably just refer to him as Therapy Today just because that's the name of his channel. And he and I also did a collab together afterwards, just talking about Girl World in general and that kind of stuff. So when I put the playlist together, I'll probably add those videos to the playlist. They were both lives. I think I can add his live to that playlist. I think. Don't hold me to that, but I will definitely give it a shot. Either way, it was a lot of fun doing the collab with him as far as the Amberverse and Girl World was concerned. And I noticed that he has done another video. This is Amberlynn Reid, Almost Hospitalized, a Therapist Reacts. I don't know how many of you remember Amber clickbaited a video title a while ago about how she had almost been hospitalized at a mental hospital. And it was like a 3-second clip in one of her videos about how she had a mental breakdown that was so bad at bingo one night that she had almost had to go to the mental hospital. And I think I was like, do we even have those anymore? And a lot of you were like, yeah, we still have those kind of things. And, you know, they're not called that anymore, but we do still have those kind of things here. And that was a discussion, but that was like a couple weeks ago. And I think that was before she started the Zoloft. Don't quote me. Anyway, the point is, this is something that Amber clickbaited a while ago. And Therapy Today is going to apparently go over that video. I have not watched this yet. This is going to be a cold react. Should I speed him up? I'll probably speed him up to 1:25 just because I basically watch everything at 1:25 when I react to it. So we're going to give that a shot. And that's pretty much all I've got for you guys as far as a preamble. So, my hair is wet because I took a shower, you guys. I totally took a shower, so my hair is wet. But thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you, my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. We did hit 12K. We will be sponsoring a cat probably around the end of the month. So keep an eye out for that. And can't think of anything else really. I may or may not have to turn my AC back on today. It's going to be around 90. I apologize for the background noise, but it's really hot, you guys. Most of the time you can't hear it unless I'm talking. So don't know what to do about that one. But yeah, I'm going to try. If I have to break this up, I'm going to try to keep it around 45 minutes per part. So that's another reason why I'm trying to keep the intro a little brief. Yeah, it's hasn't quite been 5 minutes yet. Trying to think of anything else I really need to say about this. Therapy Today is a therapist. Yeah, he does have an active practice. So I will be linking the video in the description down below as well, along with the playlist. So a little caveat here, unlike myself. He does have a reputation to maintain, and he is a professional, so he is not going to, you're not going to hear him say anything definitive, which is important to understand going into this video, because if you're looking to go to his video and hear like a professional therapist definitively say things about Amber. This is something very important when you watch his BPD videos about her. You're not going to hear him diagnose or undiagnose Amber with anything, because that is unprofessional. And he will not do that on the internet, which is something I really respect about him, honestly, because he upholds those. He upholds that. That is something I have always said, even before I met this gentleman, that we cannot diagnose people here on the internet, we being the internet in general, mostly because most of us are not qualified. Sir is, but I have always said, even if we were qualified, it would be unprofessional and unethical for us to do that. And he believes that as well. And so you're not going to ever hear him say anything like that. What he believes in his own time, completely, that he's going to keep to himself, probably. I don't think you'll ever pin him down to sharing that opinion, because that would be unprofessional and, again, unethical. So there you have it. He does have very open body language, and I'm going to try to not be too bad about reading it, because I was like that the first time, because I hadn't met him yet. So we're going to try not to be too bad about that in the reactions here, but I am going to be keeping an eye out for it. Again, I don't know exactly which video he's going to watch. I have an idea which one he's going to watch. I haven't seen the video yet, so I don't know exactly what's going to happen. And I didn't want to watch it. I wanted to watch it cold, just so, because I wanted to see what was going to happen. Because I enjoy that kind of thing. But if you see me say things or stuff like that, or if you see me in particularly have a reaction to one of his reactions, that doesn't mean he's thinking something or stuff like that. I'm not most of you don't even like my body language reading. So there you have that. Actually, I think half of you don't, half of you do. So there's that. And the other part of it is, like, just because I think he's thinking something doesn't mean that means he's thinking that, right? So there's that. Anyway. I just wanted to caveat that. I'm not trying to put words in the man's mouth. There, all right. I think that's all of the disclaimers we need to have. I just kind of enjoy doing the body language thing. So, I'm going to read he does actually have a little blurb here, so let's scroll down a tiny, tiny bit. It says, Amberlynn Reid almost went to a mental hospital. Did she, though? Therapist reacts to her story of an anxiety attack and how she is managing her mental health. Thank you to Chonker for sponsoring this video. Want your own red panda companion? Yes. Yes, I do. I may receive compensation for any product purchased above link. Okay. Alrighty then. So there's a ad in here. He does have a couple sponsorships. So there's that. And what is this thing? Breathing red panda. My partner really likes red pandas. I usually skip this kind of stuff. I usually skip ads, but I'm not going to lie. The stuff he usually sponsors is actually pretty decent. But all right, anyway, enough rambling. Let's go. Speed. Enough preamble. We'll see about that when we get to it. Let's go.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hi.
Welcome back to the channel. I know it's been about 3 months since I first was introduced to Amberlynn Reid. At the time, after doing a couple videos, doing a couple collabs, I decided that I wasn't going to have my whole channel revolve around her. I would check in on her channel periodically, see if she was talking about anything mental health related, so that would be my reason for doing any more content related to her.
Fool. Since he did his evaluation of her BPD videos, Amber has spent most of her time trying to convince us all that she has BPD, and some of us are convinced, some of us are not. She has started her Zoloft arc, and I don't know, I guess he's new to this, so new to the Zoloft arc. So, but that also is less than a month old. Yeah, she's only been on Zoloft for like 2 weeks now. She's starting her 3rd week of Zoloft.
As I learned over my time in the Amberverse, it turns out that she does talk about her health and her mental health a good bit. And so how could I avoid doing another video based on her vlog, which is titled Getting Hit On By My DoorDasher? That's not,
Oh, Lord.
not what I'm talking about. Someone sent me...
Are you sure? Are you sure? You sure you don't want to talk about that one? Are you sure?
Flowers, that's also not what I'm focusing on, and almost went to a mental hospital. That's the part that I want to focus on. So a relatively short clip of hers, and of course, because there's probably been a lot going on in her life, I'm not caught up with everything that might have happened since, but we'll use what she's talking about as a launching off point to talk about mental health care, mental health hospitals, what might lead someone to go, whether voluntarily or involuntarily, to a mental hospital. As always, please do like and subscribe.
That'll actually be really interesting because like one of my major questions when Amber was talking about that was, do those spaces even exist anymore? Because I remember having it when I was much younger. I am an old person, remember? When I was much younger, I had a friend who ended up in one of those, but it was like just kind of a wing of the hospital. It wasn't like a full like hospital for it. It was just part of the hospital. So I don't even know if they even have those anymore, but a lot of you were assuring me that they do exist. So
let's jump into the video.
I know in the beginning of this video, I talked about how like I probably won't be doing that, but I feel like Let's Talk this time is going to be a little different. There are things that should be talked about, and I just want it to be in a more positive way. Like I want more of like a positive aura around it. So everything that will be talked about in Let's Talk videos from this point forward will be coming from a more positive place. It's just my mental health like has drastically improved, and I need it to stay that way because I just feel lighter and happier like as a person.
Don't deny that that's totally possible. Like I said, I haven't really watched any of her content for about 3 months, so it's hard to say what might have changed that would have improved her mental health so much. Last I heard, she was being diagnosed and treated for borderline personality disorder, so I don't know whether something has progressed in that regard or something's changed. So if you all know what's going on that may have led to this kind of improvement, please do let me know in the comments below.
I like his little buttons that pop up. So what he doesn't seem to know, which is fine. God forbid you not exist 24/7 in the girl world. It sounds like he's not aware that she quit talking about her BPD. Oh, and her BPD treatment. Has anyone noticed that she doesn't talk about that anymore? Also, she's been put on Zoloft for her anxiety. Those are the two major developments that I don't think he's fully aware of, because I think in that video she'd been taking Zoloft for a week. I don't remember exactly. But she hadn't been on Zoloft very long, and she was already singing the praises of the Zoloft, which, you know, again, I've not taken Zoloft. I know a lot of you have or are currently taking it. My thing is I was just skeptical of like the miracle cure that she was kind of claiming the Zoloft is. Amber was claiming that she was basically cured in under a week, and this is that particular clip was part of that. She was so cured of it that she was above all of the petty drama, and she was in such a great headspace that she didn't want to continuously drag herself back down into it, and so she was getting rid of various aspects of her videos that she had been doing because they were dragging her into those negative headspaces that she didn't want to exist in. And then at the end of the video, she was just like, oh, joking, we're still going to keep doing it.
As for what she's talking about, I'm not mad at it, especially if you're a content creator and you get to decide what you're doing for your work as she's talking about.
Yeah.
Then yeah, absolutely. If it helps you to feel better to be posting and talking about positive things, then for sure. That is one of the things I do encourage my clients to think about is what are your habits and patterns that contribute to or detract from your mental health? And if she's identifying that, talking about negative stuff, whether it's drama,
excuse me, sorry,
stuff that makes her angry or upset that sets her off and leads to her potentially ruminating on that or feeling hurt by that, and it's not contributing to her mental health, then yeah, absolutely, it would make sense to change her patterns about what she chooses to talk about on her channel and what she chooses to film.
And that right there, him saying that kind of thing, kind of just points out to me that Amber's never actually, A, talked to a therapist, and B, talked to a therapist about her YouTube channel, because there is no way in my mind that Amber will tell her therapist about her channel and about the stress and the drama around her channel, and her therapist would be like, oh, you know what, just keep going, just truck right on through that. I just don't I just don't see a therapist being on board with that, because that's not my personal opinion. I see a therapist's job as trying to get you into a positive mental space, right? There's no way in hell this is a positive mental space for Amber. She tells us that on a regular basis that it is not. So if you are telling your therapist that this job of yours is putting you in this negative mental space, wouldn't your therapist tell you this? Like, wouldn't you expect your therapist to tell you this? You know? Now, I do remember when Amber was telling us about this, that she was like, you know, like, I want to put a positive spin on it. And I was like, yeah, I'm here for that. I really am. I want to see her try to be more positive. I'm actually cool about it. And I know I was doing an Am Baby reaction at the time, but I was actually really kind of looking forward to her. Even if she was just trying to do like fake happiness, I really was kind of looking forward to seeing her put a positive spin on everything. But I don't think we got it. I think unsurprisingly, I don't think we got to see that.
It's crazy how much, like, when your mental health is so bad, how much that truly affects you. Like, my mental health was getting to the point where, like, there was a moment where I wanted to go to the mental hospital, and
Real quick before she talks about the mental hospital thing. So I don't subscribe to the theory that if you just consume good things, if you just talk about good things, that your mental health is going to be good. I think the converse can be true. If your mental health is already in a poor state, or if you're already in a vulnerable state, then talking about some of those negative things, some of those hurtful things might lead to more ruminating and dwelling on those things. And that can in turn worsen your mental health and your sense of vulnerability. But I don't think the opposite works, that if you just only consume good things and only talk about good things, that doesn't mean that your life is automatically going to be better either. So then let's see what she says about going to the mental hospital.
I talked to my mom about it. We were actually at bingo. I would say it was about 6 weeks ago. And it's really embarrassing because there's actually cameras outside of bingo. Like, I can't. So I'm like thinking, did they hear or see that? I don't even know.
I'm trying to think what would be so upsetting about there possibly being cameras. Like, if it's just security stuff, I don't think anybody really watches that unless something actually goes wrong. But if that's a thought that normally goes through her mind, then I would definitely be concerned about how much you're thinking that people are paying attention to you. And that's definitely something that comes up for a lot of clients who are anxious or socially anxious, that you tend to feel like, not in a positive way, that there's a spotlight always around you, that people are always judging you and always noticing what you're doing and recognizing if you do something wrong. Do you struggle with...
Okay. This is his chonker. What is this thing around the top? Anyway, I understand what he's saying here about Amber being hypervigilant about the cameras and about how an average person, we have to understand we're talking about Amber. I understand what he's saying about somebody with anxiety being hypervigilant about being observed, and that how the presence of even security cameras could trigger that hypervigilance in somebody with anxiety and could cause that anxiety to spike. Like, I'm having an anxiety attack outside. I can see the security camera. I assume somebody is watching. Therefore, my anxiety is going to spike even further because, oh my God, I'm being watched. I understand that's where he's going with that. What myself and most of the people who are listening to that story from Amber are hearing, though, isn't that Amber was embarrassed because there were cameras that potentially could have been recording her having this anxiety attack. You see, what we were hearing was, oh, there's evidence that I had this anxiety attack, in case anybody wants to question if I was really having this anxiety attack or not. The thing here that those of you who aren't fully aware of Therapy Today, as he said at the beginning, he is not fully immersed in the Amberverse. He does not keep his finger on the pulse, which is fine. So when he looks in on the Amberverse, he is looking in from the outside. And he is looking in from the outside through the lens of a therapist looking at a person who may or may not actually be in distress. He is taking Amber at face value and at her word. So when Amber says, I was having an anxiety attack outside the bingo hall, he believes that she is having an anxiety attack outside the bingo hall. The rest of us are of the opinion that if Amber's lips are moving, then she's lying. So with us, Amber has to prove that she isn't lying. Like, Amber is coming from a negative and has to prove her way up to the positive. With him, it's the exact opposite, right? He's had a really good video about what to do, or what therapists do if their clients are lying, or if they think their clients are lying. So that I'll see if I can't find that one and link it down below as well. But he talks about how they deal with patients or clients who are potentially lying to them as well. And it's kind of an interesting video to watch there as well, because people were asking him that in the lives, because it's entirely possible, even when Amber goes to therapy, that she lies while she's at therapy, because can she even tell the truth at this point? But yeah, that's something that people who are watching this reaction need to keep in mind when he is talking about parts of Amber's story, or when he is accepting things that Amber says at face value. That's why, even if he didn't believe her, he would probably still be accepting these things at face value, simply because that is how you approach these kinds of situations as this kind of an individual, right? We, on the other hand, that we are not these people. We are not therapists. We are reactors. And we have been following Amber far too closely. We know things about Amber we wish we didn't know. Like about her teeth and the wash rags. I could really have gone my entire life without ever knowing those things. And thankfully, he doesn't know those things. So there we are. But yeah, just in case anybody's like listening to him and they're like, why is he agreeing with her? Or why does he believe this? Or why is he giving her the benefit of the doubt? That's why he's giving her the benefit of the doubt. So, because I know somebody's going to mention it in the comment section. I might actually go read some of his comments after this, but I want to watch this commercial. I might end up cutting it later, but I kind of want to see what this is. Yes, Chonker with a little heart. All right, I want to see what this thing is. Sorry, I'm here for it. What is it? It's a red panda thing.
Feeling grounded or mindful breathing when you're feeling anxious? Chonker's got the solution.
I don't know, man. Okay, the sound it's making, not so much. Okay, hey God.
For you. Not only is their stuffed red panda soft and cute, but also rechargeable.
Okay, but it sounds like it's slowly dying. Could it not make the noise?
Rechargeable? Yes, because it breathes. He is a great companion because he has multiple different breathing patterns.
Okay. Is one of them not slowly dying? He's got little claws though. Can you see the little claws?
The breathing is relaxing by itself, but you can also practice
Kitty.
multiple different calming breathing patterns with him, dealing with anxiety and other different challenges related to mental health.
it's
If you struggle to
Bubbles!
practice mindful breathing, the stuffed red panda from Chonker is the little guy that will help you out. You can practice different breathing and grounding patterns with him based on the different modes of breathing that he has. Check the link in the description below for 5% off of your own stuffed red panda today. Thank you so much to Chonker.
I'm not gonna lie, that is actually making me kind of breathe along with it, but only because like I don't like the noise it's making.
For sponsoring this video. So
Okay, I like everything about that except the breathing, the noise. Will my partner like that though? That's kind of, I don't know. Huh. All right, you had my attention.
that is potentially contributing to her sense of embarrassment.
Okay.
That, oh, there were
And we're back to Amber having anxiety spikes because she's hypervigilant about the cameras at the bingo hall recording her anxiety attack.
cameras around and probably somebody recorded or saw it. That would definitely be a cognitive piece that I would work with somebody on to be aware, like, how much do people actually pay attention to you? How much do you actually pay attention to other people? If you're not noticing every little thing that everyone around you is doing, is it fair to assume that maybe not everyone's so focused on you either? But
what if I am paying attention to every little thing people are doing? Can I then assume that people are paying attention to every little thing I am doing?
I do get it. If she was really fixated on the idea that something really embarrassing is happening, that could definitely add to the sense of something's wrong and add to the sense of rising. I don't even know what the problem is that she was dealing with at the moment. She just said that there were cameras around and she was thinking about going to the mental hospital.
Here's the thing though, like, here's a thing to get into Amber's head with though. Amber is hyper criticized though. So let's have a thought experiment moment. He's saying one thing that he would work with a client with would be basically to try to point out to them that people aren't really paying attention to you as much as you think they are, because you don't pay attention to people that much, really, other people that much, really. So they're probably not paying that much attention to you either. This is something we talk about with fat acceptance a lot. So that would be something that you would probably try to convince somebody of. Be like, hey, you're not dwelling on every single thing that these people are doing. They are not dwelling on every single thing that you're doing. With Amber, however, we do. She does have people who dwell on literally every little thing that she does. Some people like hyper fixate on it, right? So this is one of those situations where her paranoia, if we would like to call it that, isn't misplaced, right? And Amber lives her life through the lens of a camera. Think about it. So she sees a camera and she's having, we'll pretend like she's actually, that this story is real, and she's having an anxiety attack, and she sees a camera, and she knows the camera represents the audience. You know, we talk about this a lot on this channel, that Amber views the camera as her portal to the audience, the amorphous blob that is the audience, right? So when she sees a camera that she doesn't have control over, she probably associates that with the uncontrolled view of the audience, the uncontrolled eye of the audience, right? That's why she doesn't like when other people are recording her. She didn't like it when Eric would do it. She doesn't like it when people get pictures of her and she doesn't have control of that. And also keep in mind that Amber has had security video cam footage of herself leaked into the public in the past. Like there's this like 30-second clip of her walking out of Target because reasons, but it exists. It's a picture. It's just a little clip of her mom and her leaving Target because we all needed to see that. It's like the dumbest thing. Anyway, but it exists and it's real video camera footage. So her being scared of or being paranoid about security video footage being leaked onto the internet is a legitimate fear because it's happened, right? It has happened in the past. So she has a legitimate reason to worry about it happening in the future, right? So on top of viewing the camera as being an uncontrolled source of her being viewed by the audience, she's also legitimately had video footage of herself leaked onto the internet from security cameras. So these are all fears that she legitimately should have because they've happened to her in the past. So he doesn't know any of that. But these are fears that she has because it's happened. So in this case, though she may be being paranoid and it may spike her anxiety, she's paranoid because it's real. People really do criticize every little thing that she does. People really are hyper observant of every little thing that she does. She really has had her privacy invaded through cameras that she has no control over. And through her own like cameras herself. She lives her entire life through a lens of a camera online. So, you know, anyway.
So let's see what she describes.
But I had a full-fledged like anxiety attack. I had to literally step outside. I was bawling my eyes out. My mom came, she was hugging me, and I told her some things that are pretty personal. Hugging me, literally step outside. But I had a full-fledged...
She was thinking about going to the mental hospital. So let's see what she describes.
But I had a
I'm watching him in case anybody was wondering why I was backing that up.
Full-fledged like anxiety attack. I had to literally step outside. I was bawling my eyes out. My mom came, she was hugging me, and
he's evaluating what she's saying, which I always find interesting when he starts to do that.
And I told her some things that are pretty personal.
Okay, for those of you who are better versed with Amberlynn Reid, I don't know what she means when she says things that are more personal.
Neither do we, honestly. This is one of her ways of blowing smoke. When she doesn't have her story fully formed, she gets very vague. And this is one of those moments where she didn't. This is why people don't necessarily believe this story, is because Amber doesn't have the details hammered out. hey, for whatever reason, we're doing yard work at 2 in the afternoon. Sorry if you can hear it. But this is one of the reasons why people aren't fully on board with this particular narrative that Amber has here. Amber either has too many details or Amber is just vague posting. And that's usually how you can tell that she's making shit up. She has either thought about the story to the point where she has every single little detail thought out to the nth degree, and she's going to tell you every one of them, which is a classic sign of not being true. And or she is so vague that she leaves it open to the point where you can't nail anything down because she doesn't know, but she's doing it on purpose so that she can't be nailed down in the future, because that's usually where she gets screwed, because she'll say definitively something is X. Later on, she'll say it's Y. People will be like, but wait, earlier you said it was X. And she'll be like, no, I didn't. And it's like, but I have a video of you saying that. And then it all goes downhill from there.
Like, obviously, she shares a lot of her life with a lot of people, so it's hard to say what her standard of personal is. But all that to say also, I do get confused sometimes when my clients talk about anxiety attacks. Now, we have panic attacks in the DSM, and that's a very rapid escalation of both physical and emotional and cognitive symptoms. You have physiological things going on, like your heart rate increasing, difficulty breathing, maybe butterflies and stomach discomfort, headaches, dizziness, a bunch of stuff can be going on physiologically. Your thoughts might be going super fast. You might be really fixated that you're losing control, or you're going crazy, or you're going to die. There's a lot going on during a panic attack. So when people talk about an anxiety attack, I don't know whether they mean that's like a middle ground where it feels kind of out of control, but it's not to the extreme level of a panic attack, or if they're using it interchangeably. She's talking about crying uncontrollably. That might be one particular symptom of a panic attack, but if she's not describing a lot of other things, I would be hesitant to call it that. If I had a client who was saying they had an anxiety attack, they were crying uncontrollably, and they were inconsolable, I would definitely ask what else might have been going on for them at the time. What was their thought content like? What else was going on with their bodies? What precipitated that? All of those things would help inform what we were actually looking at and how we work to prevent that in the future. As of right now, I don't think I have enough detail to say definitively what was going on with her. Just, I guess, something related to the realm of anxiety. I don't know when she's saying if there was something personal that she was sharing that had to do with potentially suicidal ideation, and maybe that's what led to the mental hospital discussion, but let's see what else she says about that.
But it was very close to me, like just checking myself in, because I was struggling that bad. And I just feel so much better. Like, genuinely, Zoloft worked for me years ago, and it's working for me again.
I literally don't remember her being on Zoloft. I asked you guys this because I don't remember her being on Zoloft. And you guys were telling me that the last time she was on, or some of you were mentioning, because no one has like definitively told me when she was on Zoloft. So I don't know. But a lot of you were mentioning that it might have been when she was in the gay care with, I was going to call him Eddie, but that's not his name, Eric and Ricky, because they were all seeing the same psychiatrist, and she, I think it was a she, had diagnosed all of them with, she had diagnosed all of them as bipolar. Like, she diagnosed all of them with the exact same thing. And I don't remember her being on Zoloft, but that was when she was on the one medication that she took for a while and then quit taking, just cold turkeyed it. But that wasn't Zoloft that she was on. I don't remember what that one was, but it wasn't Zoloft. So I literally don't remember her being on Zoloft before. But again, I am not a historian of the Amberverse. So if anybody can like hardcore give me a date that she was on the Zoloft, maybe it was when she was living with Eric and Ricky, but I really don't remember her being on Zoloft before.
And it's ironic though.
Okay, so Zoloft, antidepressant, I think. I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not sure about that. But okay, 3 months ago, I didn't hear anything about any prescription medications like Zoloft, so that's something new for me.
Yes.
And so that means that she has some kind of diagnosis within that area, which leads me to also thinking about checking herself into a mental hospital. Now, I'm in Virginia, so the laws might be different based on the state that you're in. You can voluntarily check yourself into a mental hospital, or you can be involuntarily committed if it's determined that you are not able to keep yourself safe. And so if there's imminent risk of harm to yourself or harm to someone else, you can be kept in a mental hospital for, I think it's up to...
So this says temporary detention order, TDO, in Virginia is up to 72 hours. I hope I never have that problem.
2 to 3 days, or it's some certain number of hours, if I remember right. It has been a while since I worked in an acute hospital. But yes, generally you can check yourself in, but I think there's still a screening process at the beginning to see if you qualify, because at least in Virginia, there was definitely, at the time I was working, a shortage of beds, which means that the space in these hospitals were at a premium. So it's not like anyone could just check themselves in. So depending on the severity of her symptoms, it's very likely that if she was just saying, oh, I'm having trouble, I'm really struggling right now, I can't stop crying, and there was no other risk or concern, she might not actually have qualified to be admitted to the hospital. So
that's interesting. Because I do know if you are a risk to yourself, that there are places inside the hospitals that they will put you under observation. I know that much, but I didn't realize that was like the mental hospital, right? I thought that was just like the watch, the S word watch, you know, so that you didn't terminate yourself early kind of a thing. But I thought the only way you really got in there is if you were showing signs of not being able to control yourself effectively. I didn't realize you could just like check yourself in, like Hotel California.
of course, that's not for me to judge because I don't know the whole story. I obviously was not there, didn't hear any more of the symptoms. This is the only account that I'm getting of it. So it's hard.
It's the only account any of us got of it, so don't feel bad. You literally know as much as we do.
Hard for me to say when she's talking about personal stuff, really struggling, what that all actually means, but that would be up to whoever was doing the screening at the hospital if she had decided to try to check herself in to determine whether she was at risk enough to merit having to be admitted.
The only reason why I stopped taking Zoloft years ago is because I felt better. My anxiety was better. I wasn't so depressed. Like, I didn't have crazy mood swings. I didn't feel things so strongly.
Okay, so now she's talking a little bit more about some of the broad symptoms that she's experiencing: anxiety, depression, mood swings, experiencing emotions very sharply. Again, I was coming off 3 months ago with her being on borderline personality disorder,
Which she was not taking medication for. So, God, it's only been 3 months. Whew, things have moved quickly.
These things are not necessarily indicative of borderline personality disorder. Now, again, I'm not here to judge. She could have gotten some other diagnosis from somebody in the meantime, or she said that she's been on Zoloft before, so it's possible she has a historical diagnosis of one kind or another. But yeah, that part is a little confusing, and that does throw me with my clients sometimes. It's a difficult conversation to have, because if you are starting to feel better on a certain medication, it's hard to say whether your symptoms have improved or whether the medication is really just working that well for you to the point that you almost don't notice that anything's off. And the hard part in those situations is knowing whether you can go off the medication safely. And so some of my clients have had really good experiences where they went off the medication, they weaned off safely with consent and supervision from their doctors, and they were fine afterwards because they had a lot of those skills and things that gotten to a point where they felt more in control and they felt more stable and they didn't need the medication anymore. Some others went the opposite direction where they discontinued either too soon or that was just a medication that potentially they needed to be on for a longer term. And then things really slid back to almost where they started because they just needed to be on the medication and they couldn't discontinue it, at least for the time being. So it's really hard to judge. I never try to make that determination for my clients. I always refer them to, hey, you need to talk to your psychiatrist, you need to talk to your prescribing physician about that, because though you are feeling good right now and that's what I can see and that's what I'm hearing from you, we don't know how much the medication is contributing to that. And if you suddenly remove that from the equation, might that destabilize the progress that you've made? It's hard to say.
That's why people always get angry with Amber when she talks about how she either A, won't take her meds, or B, cold turkeys her meds. And I do recall when Amber stopped taking the medication that she had been prescribed for her bipolar, she was very flippant and very braggy about how she just cold turkeyed it. And any of us who have had medications for those kind of issues, not necessarily bipolar, but for, you know, brain issues, we're all like, you're an idiot. Because we are aware that, you know, like he said, you're on them for a reason usually. And even if you're not, or even if you're ready to come off of them, you don't cold turkey that shit. Because it's bad. And that's the other thing. Like, she doesn't ever seem to have any kind of like a side effects, which tells me she's not taking it, right? Or she's not taking it the way she should be taking it, because like she doesn't ever seem to be affected by it, right? That's my opinion on the matter anyway. But like he was saying, some people wean off of stuff and they're fine. Some people, they only need it for a certain amount of time. They wean off of it under supervision and they're fine. Some people try to come off of it under supervision and they're not ready for it, right? And they need to be on it longer, or some people just need to be on shit, you know? Some of us just need to take it for the rest of our lives. It's just how it is sometimes. Whether or not Amber's one of those people, we'll never know, because she won't fucking take her medication the way she's supposed to take it. Which is another thing, like, I don't remember her being on Zoloft before. Okay? Because her right now, she's like, oh my God, Zoloft is the most amazing thing ever. I would remember her doing that before, because she does this every time she's on medication. She spends like the first week or two telling us how amazing she feels because she actually takes her meds. And then she either stops taking them or they become the devil and she, for whatever reason, stops taking them. Like, eventually she will stop taking it. Right? I don't remember her taking Zoloft. Anyway, I could just not remember. That's the thing. Like, it's entirely just me not remembering it or me not being around for it. I started watching Amber around probably 2019 during the Beck era, right? They were still living with Eric and Ricky when I was watching, but it was like right before they moved into the first apartment, right? So they only had the one apartment. Anyway, the point is they were still living with Eric and Ricky when I started watching. So it may have happened beforehand.
So in my brain, I was like, oh, I'm improved. I don't need to take Zoloft anymore. It's like, no, girl, like the reason why you feel this way is because of the Zoloft. So you need to stay on it. So it just feels really good to like be in such a fucking good place. And yeah, it makes me really happy. So I do have a torrid haul.
Okay. Oh, this is when she bought the dresses. So this is a really recent one.
I'm not.
Okay, so if she's saying she's got a torrid haul, I think she's done talking about her mental health. All that to say, there's not a lot.
Oh, is she though? Are you sure? Have you seen the dresses? No, I'm kidding. See, you missed the little things though. Anyway, sorry.
To go off of here. Like I said in my videos way back when, I'm not here to debunk or discredit her story about mental health or what she's going through. I definitely do encourage my clients, if you want to make any changes to your medication, talk to your psychiatrist about that. I get that a lot of times psychiatrists are hard to see. Sometimes you're seeing them once every 3 months, maybe once a month is the best I've heard recently. And so life just doesn't move that slowly for a lot of people. So sometimes they want to speed up the process of weaning off their medications or going off entirely. And that can definitely mess people up if it's not the right thing to do for your medication for your mental health. In terms of her crisis situation that she was describing, again, she didn't talk about what might have brought on that feeling. I can get that if we're thinking now that it might be an anxiety or panic attack, that feeling very vulnerable, very self-conscious. There are cameras around, there are people around, being in a public space. That might have exacerbated the situation, but again, we don't know how intense it got to know whether it was a panic attack, whether it was something in between or something else entirely. Now, this is not to diminish what she was feeling or how bad a panic attack is. Panic attacks are terrifying because some people legitimately think they're having a heart attack or they're dying or they're going crazy. You just feel so out of control and it's really hard to feel grounded or be able to calm yourself. So I'm glad that she had her mom there, someone who cared for her, who could just hug her and hold her. That can be very helpful too. I do think that one of the best visual representations of a panic attack I've seen is in Inside Out 2, so definitely check that out. That was a really powerful scene, both showing what happens externally and internally. But yeah, like I said, not enough to really go on here. I do wish she went into a little more detail, but of course, this is her video. It's up to her how much of her mental health and her internal life that she shares.
Again, he only sees bits and pieces of Amber. We see, the community, we see all of Amber, usually all that Amber shares, and then some. So he is unaware that this is typical Amber behavior, where she vague posts like this because she likes to be mysterious and quirky. there isn't anything else here. You know, he's like, I don't know what the rest of the context is here. I wish I did, because then it could enlighten me a little bit more. You know, maybe there's some details here or there. There aren't, though. That's the thing. This is a typical Amber story, which is another reason why her audience has a hard time believing or trusting in this story, because Amber purposefully vague posts like this. And that's why we're like, sure, Jan. And it's also another thing that she does to kind of like deflect. I forget exactly what was going on around this time that people were having issues with her in particular. I don't think anything like super crazy was happening, but she either needed the attention. Maybe it wasn't even her. Maybe it was Foodie, because Foodie's been being nuts lately. So maybe it was something going on with Foodie, and Amber was trying to get the spotlight back on herself. So there could have been any number of reasons why Amber decided that she needed to drop this very emotionally charged event in order to get attention. Because again, Amber dropping the, I guess we can say, suicidal ideation card in a video is not uncommon. She does it fairly frequently, actually. If you really sit down and listen to her videos, she will, typically when she does do it, she drops off the planet for a little while, because she likes the way people react to that. She'll vague post about it, or sometimes she'll just straight up say it, and then she'll go dark for a few days, sometimes a week. And because she likes people being like, oh my God, is Amber okay? Oh my God. And then she'll come back and she'll just be like, I know, I left for a little while. I know, but I'm back now. And she likes doing that kind of shit. So that's not an uncommon thing for her to do. And I think this mental hospital stunt is just an extension of that, because she does mention that particular thing. Because she does it in this most recent video too. I think I just posted a reaction. I mean, it's, by the time you guys see this, it'll be older, but in her Monday video, today is the 8th. Yeah. July 8th. But in her video from July 7th, she drops the S word there too. And, you know, she uses it as a way of grabbing attention and just grabbing attention and sympathy. Right? So, but he doesn't know that. He doesn't know that that's a typical Amber behavior. And I think that this mental hospital thing and this anxiety, at least she called it an anxiety attack and not a panic attack. But I think this is just another like softer version of the ideation thing, which I guess I can appreciate it a little bit better, because at least it's not as like, I don't know. I think it's pretty sick when people do that kind of shit, but that's my personal opinion on the matter. But again, he's looking in from the outside.
I think the only point that I really have some contention with is the idea that, oh, if I just consume and put out positive stuff, that my mental health is going to stay good. I would argue that leans a little bit into toxic positivity, where you're just looking on the bright side of things. You're just talking.
Always look on the bright side of life.
About good things. You're only thinking about good things, only consuming good things. And that's not real to life. It puts a lot of pressure on somebody that, oh, you're just not being positive enough. But no, sometimes we have to reckon with that life is hard, life sucks, life doesn't go our way sometimes. And it's a balance of being able to acknowledge and validate our own feelings and accept the way things are without dwelling on it or trying to avoid or trying to hide from it. Because that's what tends to make those really difficult feelings persist for longer if we're trying to push them away or reject them or pretend like they're not there.
It's something I would really like to watch him do. I don't think he has the time or the desire. I would really like to see him go through Anna's book, A Life Full of Glitter, and not watch my videos first. I would really like to see him go through Anna's book, A Life Full of Glitter, and read that and evaluate it as a therapist. I would just like to see what he has to say about it, besides cite your sources. But I would like to see what he has to say about it, especially after hearing what he has to say about toxic positivity. I don't think Amber's capable of being toxically positive, because I don't think Amber's capable of being positive that long. I don't think Amber's capable of being toxically positive, because I don't think Amber's capable of being positive. I think Amber, of all the girls, honestly, I think Amber's the most realistic of them. I know that comes out weird, but like Anna's very much toxic positive. Like she is like the queen of toxic positivity. April Lauren definitely does the positivity above all else, like to the point of like she needs help. Alexandra Rodriguez, I don't know if she's toxically positive or if she's just like gives no shits. Like she does not care about what other people think. Not like F you, I don't care what you're saying. Like she doesn't care what her audience has to say, and she's more concerned about being the beige it girl right now. And that's all she cares about, really. She cares more about appearances than anything else. So she's not even like positive. I wouldn't say she's like toxically positive. She's just like chronically online, like chronically the it girl. Foodie's foodie. And Amber's just like, Amber's her own special blend of delusional. I don't think she's toxically positive. But she is delusional, don't get me wrong. So there's my breakdown of everybody. Who did I miss? Oh, Rosie. Rosie just needs to get offline. Rosie, I think of all of them, has like maybe the potential to save herself. She might have the two brain cells to rub together, but Rosie thinks she can manipulate her way through life, and I just don't think that's going to work out for her. But anyway, yeah, let me let him finish, because we've only got a few minutes, and I managed to keep this almost under an hour.
So all in all, I don't know if I was just doing a video talking about a lot of nothing, but give me your comments and feedback below. Like I said, I am not inundated in this universe. This is something that I'm dipping my toe into because she happened to mention something more serious related to mental health, so I was curious what that was all about. So please feel free to inform me in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time.
Bye. I think this was a good video. I think he uses Amber in a constructive way to talk about topics that are important to be talked about, because he's a channel about therapy. Go figure. I think Eric. Wow. Why am I? Okay, anyway. Sorry about that one. I think Amber can be a really good way to talk about deeper topics. Like a lot of the girls, I think a lot of the girls have the potential to be gateways into talking about other things that aren't necessarily just trash. Don't be wrong. I like my drama and I like my trash TV, but you know, like he used this as a way to talk about mental health and when you can, you know, when maybe you should think about going to see a place like that, or, you know, the difference between a panic attack and anxiety, and, you know, when to talk to your therapist and your psychiatrist about coming off your meds and that kind of thing. I mean, he used her in a responsible way to talk about responsible mental health, right? I don't think you need to be submerged in the Amberverse 24/7 in order to use Amber as a place to launch as a launching point for a deeper conversation about bigger topics, right? He's not trying to be like, look at Amber, she's the prime example for, you know, mental health. He just was like, she said she was having an anxiety attack, and she said that the camera outside the bingo hall was it was causing her embarrassment, and this might be the reason why, because sometimes people with anxiety are hypervigilant, and because of that hypervigilance, the camera causes them anxiety. these are true statements, right? And if we pretend for 5 seconds that Amber is not making this story up, you know, this could be why Amber was embarrassed that she was having an anxiety attack outside the bingo hall. You know, we can pretend. We do have the Am babies over here. We are Am babies. We can pretend. So, you know, I think I like when he does these. I understand. As much as I enjoy that he does these, and I would like to see him do more, the unfortunate side effect is the more often he does these, the more he will become engrossed in girl world, or at least the Amberverse. The more he will become familiar with Amber and her patterns. And the more he will become biased or familiar and start to recognize the Amber bullshit, right? Part of what makes these videos that he does so good, in my opinion, is the fact that he isn't familiar with her, right? And he can be objective, excuse me, from an outside point of view, which is unfortunate because I really like it. But I also am like, what about this video? What about this video? What about this video? You know, like, what about this one when she says X, Y, and Z? And it's like, I really want his opinion on all of this stuff. But the problem is like, the more he watches and the more he becomes familiar with her, he is a therapist. Like, this is his thing. He's trying to recognize patterns. The more he's going to notice the patterns, right? And then he's going to be like, oh, wait, kind of a thing. Like, it's going to happen. Unfortunately, but you know, so maybe one video every 3 months is the best we can do. I'll take it, right? I'll take it. I enjoy the hell out of this. I am going to link this video of his down below. Like I said, I'm going to put a little playlist together of the other reacts that I did to his videos. Do go give it a watch. All right, if you've made it this far in the video, go ahead and put a, is there a red panda? Well, if there isn't a red panda, put a panda. There's got to be a panda emoji. There has to be. Down in the comment section, just because we kind of sort of talked about it. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. I know we covered a lot of topics. Here's my thing. Please, if you want to share your story, that's fine. Please don't trauma dump. The internet is not a safe space. My comment section is not a safe space. I don't want people sharing things that could potentially come back and bite them in the ass. But if you guys want to talk about things, feel free. Do follow the link in the description. Go check out his video. Go give him a like. If you enjoy his stuff, go give him a follow. He's kicking my ass in subscribes, so he doesn't need a shout out from me. But I did borrow his video, so please at least go give him a like. If you enjoyed the video, maybe even watch the video, you know, just give it a like, give it a watch, give it a like. Let him know you're enjoying his content. And that's really all I've got for you guys. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Thank you to my subscribers. Thank you to my members. You guys rock. Thank you to everybody who's going to hit the thumbs up button. I do have 3 tiers of membership if you guys are interested. And that does get you early access to videos. And we're going to have some member content coming out this month. And yeah, your emoji is either the red panda, if it exists, and a panda because it's got to exist. And yeah, I will see everybody in the next video.
This
Bye.
is my outro music. You can't copyright strike me because it's just me singing. This is my outro music. Thank you for watching. See you next time.
Up in the Amberverse 20. Really? They cleaned out our gutters and dumped all of the gutter stuff onto my patio furniture and my garden. And then the guy with the weed, the grass blower, leaf blower thing, he decided that he was going to come through and use that to blow all of the crap from the gutters off of all of my patio furniture in my garden. So he just spent the last 10 minutes blowing wet, nasty leaves and stuff all off of my patio furniture into my grass. So now I have giant things of... It's fun living in an apartment sometimes. I don't understand the logic behind it. So anyway, later on, when it's not 1,000,000 degrees outside, I get to go pick up big chunks of wet nastiness out of my grass before it kills it. But at least it's not on my furniture, you know, the table on which I eat food outside. I wish I had gotten a notification. I would have put a cover over my furniture. I don't know what we were talking about.